Escape Pod by Kyle Felder and ChatGPT. As the sun set over the horizon and the last rays of light faded from the sky, John donned his diving suit and descended into the unknown depths of the ocean, his heart racing with excitement and anticipation at the mysteries that lay hidden beneath the waves. As a child, he spent hours poring over books and documentaries about marine life and the unique ecosystems found in the ocean depths. As he grew older, his fascination only intensified, and he became determined to explore the deep sea himself. However, John faced many obstacles in his quest to fulfill his dream. He struggled to find financial support and faced a lack of opportunities to gain practical experience in deep-sea exploration. Frustrated and discouraged, John nearly gave up on his dream altogether. Then, one day, John received news that changed everything. A renowned oceanographer and friend of John's had invited him to join his team at an underwater research lab located at the bottom of the ocean. Excited by the opportunity, John eagerly accepted and began preparing for his new role. As John descended into the depths of the ocean and arrived at the underwater lab, he couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder at the beauty and mysteries that lay before him. He knew that this was the opportunity he had been waiting for, and he was determined to make the most of it. Over the next few years, John worked tirelessly at the lab, conducting research and helping to unlock the secrets of the deep sea. He was thrilled to be able to contribute to the field of marine science and to be able to explore the ocean in a way that he had only dreamed of before. Despite the challenges and dangers of working in such an isolated and hostile environment, John was happy to be able to follow his passion and to be at the forefront of deep-sea exploration. And as he spent more and more time underwater, he couldn't help but feel a sense of belonging and purpose, knowing that he was making a meaningful contribution to our understanding of the world's oceans. But John's adventure quickly turned into a nightmare when a water breach occurred in the lab, causing all of the other scientists and staff to evacuate. John, who had been working in a different part of the lab, was the only one left behind. As the water rose and the pressure mounted, John knew he had to find a way to escape, but with no means of communication or transportation, he was stuck. With no other options available, John grabbed the tools at hand and began working frantically to repair the damage. He knew he had to come up with a solution fast, or he would never make it back to the surface alive. As he worked, an idea began to form in his mind. He remembered hearing about a new type of diving suit that used sound waves to deflect objects and protect the wearer from danger. Could he use the same technology to create a sonic shield that would protect him from the crushing pressure of the deep sea? With no time to lose, John got to work. He cobbled together a makeshift diving suit and attached a sonic shield to the front. Using whatever materials he could find in the lab, it was a risky and experimental solution, but John knew it was his only chance at survival. As John activated the shield and put on the diving suit, he held his breath and prayed that his invention would work. But just as he was putting the final touches on the suit, he noticed that the water was rapidly rising around him. Panicked, John realized that the lab was flooding, and he had only minutes to escape before it was too late. Desperate to save his own life and the valuable research being conducted at the lab, John gathered up as much equipment and data as he could carry and raced to the escape pod. As the water rose around him, John's heart pounded in his chest. He knew that if he didn't make it to the escape pod in time, he would drown in the flooding lab. Just as John was putting the finishing touches on his escape plan, he heard a strange noise behind him. He turned to see a mysterious creature emerging from the shadows. The creature, a giant octopus with glowing red eyes, seemed to be staring right at John. As the octopus glided through the dark waters, its massive tentacles stretching out in every direction, it was clear that this was no ordinary creature. Its skin was a deep, inky black, and it was covered in slimy, pulsating suction cups. But the most striking feature of the octopus were its glowing red eyes. They seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, as if they were filled with ancient knowledge and secrets. Despite its massive size, the octopus moved with a grace and agility that was almost unnatural. It seemed to glide through the water with ease, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Ships and submarines that crossed its path were said to have vanished without a trace. their steel hulls no match for the crushing power of the octopus's tentacles. But it wasn't just the octopus's physical strength that was intimidating. Its intelligence was far beyond that of any other sea creature. It was rumored to have the ability to control the minds of its prey, using its mental powers to bend them to its will. He knew he had to act fast. John donned his suit and activated the sonic shield, hoping it would be enough to fend off the creature. John knew he had to move fast if he wanted to escape the clutches of the terrifying octopus. Its massive tentacles were writhing and thrashing about, narrowly missing him as he swam through the dark waters of the ocean. He could feel the octopus's malevolent gaze upon him as he tried to swim to safety. Its glowing red eyes seemed to bore into his soul, filling him with a sense of dread and terror. But John was not about to give up without a fight. He activated the sonic shield that protected him from the octopus's crushing tentacles and began to swim faster. As he made his escape, the octopus lunged at him, its tentacles narrowly missing him as he swerved to the side. John knew he had to turn up the power on his sonic shield if he wanted to survive. He frantically fiddled with the controls, increasing the frequency until it was high enough to stun the octopus. As the octopus's tentacles went limp and it drifted unconscious in the water, John let out a sigh of relief. He had narrowly escaped the clutches of the terrifying beast. But as he turned to swim away, he heard a sinister voice in his head. It was the octopus, using telepathy to communicate with him. "You can run, but you can't hide," it hissed. "Your life is meaningless. Join me, and together we can rule the oceans." John was horrified. He knew he had to get as far away from the octopus as possible before it could convince him to join its cause. He swam as fast as he could, trying to block out the octopus's twisted words. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, John reached the escape pod and made his way to the surface. "John, what do you want from me?" "Octopus, I want you to join me, John. Together, we can rule the oceans and bring about a new era of peace and prosperity." "John, I'm not interested in ruling anything. I just want to get away from you and go back to my life." "Octopus, is that really what you want? A life of meaningless toil and suffering, on a dying planet filled with hatred and violence?" "John, what are you talking about? The human race has its problems, but we're not all evil." "Octopus spoke, but you are. You destroy everything you touch, polluting the oceans and the land with your waste and greed. You wage war on each other, killing and maiming in the name of power and profit. You are a blight upon the earth, and you deserve to be wiped out." "John, that's a pretty bleak view of humanity. I don't agree with it." "Octopus, perhaps not, but think about it. John, you have the opportunity to repent for the sins of your race. Join me, and together we can bring about a new world order, one where the oceans are protected and respected, not plundered and destroyed. It is the only way to redeem yourselves." "John, I'm sorry, but I can't join you. I have to go back to my own people and try to make a difference in my own way." "Octopus, very well, but mark my words, John. The day of reckoning for humanity is coming, and when it does, you will wish you had made a different choice." He had made it, or had he? As John looked back down into the depths of the ocean, he couldn't shake the feeling that the creature was still down there, waiting for him to return. The end. Like and subscribe to hear more stories like this, written by Kyle Felder and ChatGPT, narrated by Murph Ali. Art by Dolly 2.